Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the special edition of the Virtual Dokkan Ultimate Clash, and we're going to see how you can be cooler, and I'm going to give you tips on all the other bosses while showing you my teams. Cooler is pretty tough. He is immune to stunning and attack and defense lowering, plus he also reduces damage. He also does hit pretty decently hard. Not insanely hard, but he does hit pretty decently hard, but he also massively lowers your attack and defense after hitting you with his super attack. So he can cause you quite a lot of damage. It's very important that you seal him up. I'm going to show you now how this team, the super team, which is a very strong team, will still struggle without a sealer compared to the extreme team that I'll be using afterwards in the harder phase. Obviously, if the super team wins, that's great, but generally speaking, it will struggle quite a bit. So Cooler hits pretty decently hard. I think his normals, technically math-wise, are around 170k. Units that have type advantage will take around 20,000 damage or so when they have 100,000 defense or so. So obviously that's causes him a little bit of problems. But he also does a decent amount of damage with his super attack. As you can see here, Gohan, who had around about 150,000 defense, is taking 160,000 damage. And so what that means is Cooler is roughly hitting for around 400 to 450k. Not anything crazy, not red zone difficult, but it will definitely be challenging for a lot of players. Now, in terms of taking on the stage and everything like that, bringing a sealer is going to be your number one option, number one strategy. By bringing a sealer, you're going to have a very solid time taking on the stage. The reason is you can seal both the first and second phase of Cooler, so it is a very, very important thing to do. I think it really helps you out quite a lot, at least for me, from my perspective. It helped me out a ton. You're going to see Goku here. This Goku has a very high amount of defense, like quite a sizable amount of defense, and he's still going to take 100k. So Cooler hits hard. He does hit very hard. Even in his base form, you are going to struggle a little bit, especially if you don't have some kind of healing. Healing does help you out. You're going to see that I have the Goku with the AGL orbs, and now Goku with his AGL orbs, he's going to just help me heal up a little bit, which is great. You can see we're going to try and organize him to get as many AGL orbs as possible, just so we can obviously really increase that healing. And this is not a weak side, it's not weak at all. You can see Goku here, also again decent defense, still taking 7,000, bit of damage reduction as well. Cooler does tend to hit quite hard, and one of the things is his ability to reduce your defense on his super. It is quite intense. So we're going to use the active skill here, which is going to help us out. But if we get hit by Cooler's super attack, we're going to hope that Goku counters. That will be your best bet overall. So Cooler can do quite a bit of damage. It's best to hit him hard and fast as well. You don't want to get into a prolonged fight against him. Even with a sealer, it is going to cause you some issues because of the sheer amount of damage that he can do. Not to mention, he will obviously cause issues for your units that he reduces the attack and defense of. So you can see here, Cooler is going to hit this Goku very hard. This Goku had 140,000 defense and type advantage, and he's still going to take 229,000. And because of that, because of the fact that his defense is now lowered, he's also going to take quite a sizable amount of damage from the normals. So this Cooler you can still seal, by the way, so that's something very important. Final form Cooler you can still seal with your abilities as well. So I highly suggest that you bring a sealer. Sealer is going to make everything a lot better. In terms of difficulty, I find that this worldwide challenge, or this worldwide celebration campaign special edition, is way harder than the previous special edition, at least for me. I don't know, I found that this one was the anniversary ones are always quite easy, whereas I found this one was quite Kula is quite tough. Kula is actually was surprisingly tough. I failed on him twice because I took a way too weak a team in the first place, and then in the second one I botched up a couple of things. So I've actually lost to him twice. So just to clarify for you guys, if you think, oh, it's easy to do with these type of teams and everything, I did screw up twice, and as you can see, we still technically lost as well. So with the super team. So Kula is tough. You can see he's hitting Ginyu for a decent amount of damage there as well. But what we have this time is we have sealing. So even though we're taking some big damage here, we can survive through it all. We will heal up. We will persevere because we have the ability to seal up Kula. And now without the threat of taking a super attack, we can take this turn really, really well. And that lack of a super attack threat is really quite a big deal, because without taking super attacks, your life is a lot easier, because you don't get your unit's defense lowered, you don't get your attack lowered, and you avoid that big shock damage of a super attack. Yes, you still have quite a sizable amount of chip damage. As you can see here, we are not easily dealing with the chip damage, but generally speaking, it is a pretty good situation to obviously have Kula sealed up. Now, I only have one sealer on this team. Ideally, you want to have two sealers because that is going to help you out a lot. Sealers on the AGL side are a bit uncommon, but fortunately the Boo and Babidi unit are a fairly common one that a lot of players will have because you can get them with currency from Ultimate Clash. If this is your first Ultimate Clash, you may struggle a little bit more, but try and find some sealers in your box. Generally speaking, you should be able to progress. Goku and Arale are a great one on the super side, and they're also a free-to-play unit as well. I have also put a video in the top right-hand corner about how to build for Ultimate Clashes, so hopefully that does help you out as well. But you can see we're getting lucky as well with where these supers from Kula are being placed. That does help us, because the supers being placed on Golden Frieza means we're not taking a very large amount of damage from these super attacks, and so we're having a much easier time taking them on, which I think is always a really good situation to be in. Now Ginyu is also stacking a little bit more, and as long as we get through this turn without any huge damage, we should be fine, because Super 17 won't die in one super attack, and we should be more than okay to go. So yeah, that was Kula. Very tough. As you can see, he hits very hard, but there are ways around it. Super 17 is a great unit for it. You need a unit that can kind of either soak up the super attack completely. Damage reduction will help you there. Evasion is also very good here, due to the fact that evasion will help you completely avoid any of the supers or attacks. So units like MUI Goku, for example, very strong. We didn't see it, but the counter from the SS4 Goku, very helpful. Now, what I'm going to do is I will go through the other bosses of the Virtual Dokkan Ultimate Clash, and I will talk you through each of the bosses and kind of their gimmick. So obviously there's 10 in total for a special edition and 4 floors. Strength Bardock was very simple. You can just take the Ginyu Force team in and beat him. You don't need to do anything crazy. He was very simple. Frieza as well, super duper simple. You can seal all of them. In fact, a lot of these bosses are prone to sealing as a very good way to control their mechanics, but neither of those fights were distinctly hard. This AGL Frieza, be wary that he has an AoE attack and can occasionally seal your units, but you should be fine. You can also counter seal him. Then we have this Goku. Goku starts out in his normal form and then will enter Super Saiyan. Again, you can seal him in his first form, but not the second. He is relatively challenging, but you can see the team I used was fairly consistent and quite free to play. Then the very next fight is Mecha Frieza. You can seal Mecha Frieza. Again, relatively difficult, but not too hard. No special gimmicks really for him. Neither for King Cold. So neither King Cold nor Frieza were distinctly difficult in any way, shape or form. Both of them were quite simple. King Cold can lower your attack a little bit, but generally speaking you have pretty good options to take things on there. So realistically not too big an issue. You can also be sealed somewhat by King Cold. Then we also have Super Saiyan Trunks, a bit of a challenging one. You can seal him in the first phase, you cannot in the second phase. Evasion will help you here because when he hits you with his attack, he will raise his own attack, which will cause more damage. B-Pan is great here because she can heal you up, and by healing you, that also gives you the ability to maintain yourself in the fight. Then, obviously, we finally move on to the last phase. In terms of the last phase, Thouser is very easy. You can seal him. He does lower your attack and defense on his super, but sealing him is generally very easy and prevents a lot of pain. You have great sealing options here in Master Roshi and the Great Saiyaman 1 and 2. So you have a lot of free-to-play sealing options for this fight, which makes it probably the easiest one overall. Then we have Piccolo. Actually quite tough. Genuinely quite a tough option. The two there, the Zarbon and the Doria, they give you a good seal. He does heal as well, so bring some healing yourself to help sustain you through the fight, and bring some crits as well to try and soak up the damage, generally, or try to out damage him. Generally, that's a good strategy, but sealing him will prevent his super attacks, which prevents a lot of pain, because he can seal you with his super attack, so be aware of that. And that's it. Just a quick rundown on each boss. Most of them weren't too hard. I found Piccolo and Trunks to be the hardest before Cooler, and the rest were all pretty straightforward. But that's going to be it from me, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you need any further help, guys, you can leave a comment down below. But leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I wish you all good luck. Go and get those stones. Cheers, and bye.